Honorable Men Discord. Terrence Howard says, maintain your man card. Let's talk about it. So recently, Terrence Howard was on PBD podcast, and he was discussing many things. But today's episode, we're just highlighting his discussion on Diddy, and it's not a surprise because honestly, there's been a barrage of accusations aimed at Diddy. And to be honest with you, on my channel, I haven't covered anything regarding Diddy because there was just too much information coming in on Diddy, and I didn't want to build my channel around Diddy in matters pertaining to Diddy. That's not to say that at some point I won't cover an episode on Diddy. Most likely that'll happen once the trial happens and more material, well, truthful material comes out, because I don't know how true some of these accusations are. It's just too much stuff. But in any regard, I decided to play this video because Terrence Howard is a respected actor. He's a very smart man also, aside from being an actor. And I just felt it was interesting that unlike some people who fold in this industry, the entertainment industry, he is standing on what he believes in, and he's not looking to compromise his morals and his integrity for the spotlight. So I respect that, and for that reason, I decided to cover him on this episode. But let's get into this interview. This is courtesy again of PBD Podcast, and we'll discuss it, further when it's completed. Let's get into it.
Well, because losing out money, you got to take drugs. You're going through so much shit to try and deal with life. You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're going to go too far, Who knows what happened to Philip? Who knows what Heath had to do in order to get to where he was at? There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. Well, when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
No, I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right of being a mother and taking care of her family and do all those things, when you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card, no matter what.
Man, I mean, one of the things you're seeing, you went to a whole different place.
I just want to say this, the maintain your man card. A while back, I saw there was an actor who spoke on this same type of situation with Tyler Perry. So there was a situation with an actor speaking on Tyler Perry and how Tyler Perry tried to come on to him, and Tyler Perry tried to come on to him more than once on several occasions, and he successfully denied Tyler Perry, but he said Tyler Perry was very persistent. So this is not just about shedding light on Diddy, because it's not just it's more than Diddy. It's it's Tyler Perry. It's different people. Kevin Spacey was in the media for things of this nature. It's a Hollywood thing, and I know a lot of people might say, well, that's not new news, but it's when you hear certain actors speak against it, uh, it's it's important to give them their space to speak on it, because I think a lot of people are just accepting it because out of fear, or out of the fact that they want to be stars so badly that they just let it, they let these things slide. So yeah, so I just wanted to put that out there, that Diddy is not the only one in Hollywood doing things like this. But let Howard continue.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they...
In all honesty, I wonder if a lot of actors are getting more coverage because of the Diddy case. Obviously, he's speaking on Diddy, but he's also speaking in general about, I guess, the trials and tribulations that actors, male and female, have to go through in the industry. But I just find it ironic that ever since this Diddy case came to be, more actors and more up and coming actors, or people within the industry that are not actors, that have gone through some type of trauma, more people are coming out more than ever. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, some might say people started coming out during the Epstein case and stuff like that, but I don't know. I wonder if Terrence Howard would have spoke on this had Diddy not been arrested by the FBI. That's just a thought that I had. Let's continue.
Stay in place. What benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here as men. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that in, no matter what.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands-off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing, and have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that shit, because the man card means everything.
What he said about taking gay roles, I think is a great conversation talking piece, because I recently, when it came out that Denzel Washington allegedly, well, not even allegedly, because Denzel himself put it out there, even though the scene was cut out from the film. And what film I'm talking about? I'm talking about Gladiators 2. Denzel Washington's character was supposedly bisexual or gay, and there was a gay scene that well, not a gay scene. Gay Denzel Washington kissed a man in the film, but they didn't play it in the movie, the final cut. They didn't play it in the final cut, but Denzel Washington felt the need in an interview to just bring it up. No one asked him about it, I don't believe, but he brought it up. And when that came out, I was it caught me off guard because one, Denzel Washington is my favorite actor. Two, it confused me when I found out that he just decided to take it upon himself to even disclose that. I didn't understand why he would feel the need to disclose something like that if it was if it didn't make the final edit, right? Now maybe he was doing his own personal PA for himself because he knew himself that he actually did a kissing scene, regardless if it made the final edit or not. Maybe he decided to speak about it ahead of time rather than someone, you know, who was part of the cast or something like that bringing it up, and then he would have to explain it later on. So I kind of understand why he would speak on it before anyone else would speak on it. But more than anything, I was kind of confused as to why would Denzel do that, because he hasn't done that in his whole career. He hasn't felt the need to do that in his whole career. So I looked at it, especially him proclaiming to be a Christian. I said, why would he do that? And I think it's a very, very good talking point. And I would love to hear people's take on Denzel Washington kissing a man in Gladiator 2. And I know this is kind of going off subject, but Terrence Howard brought this up. Terrence Howard was standing on his man card saying he would take on a gay role. And I don't even know Terrence Howard's religious beliefs. I think he's just standing on that as a man. He with no association to any particular religion, I'm assuming. With Terrence Howard bringing that up, my question to those of you watching, how do you feel about Denzel Washington, before we go into any other actor? Denzel Washington, who is a known Christian, obviously he's been married for a very long time, has children. He's a proclaimed Christian. He was recently baptized, I want to say last year, and that video is out there on YouTube. How do you feel about Denzel Washington kissing a man in Gladiator 2? Kissing a man in general. Now, the reason why I'm asking you all for your opinion on that is because I remember having this conversation with my sister, who has acted before in the past, and we had a slight argument. I said, why would Denzel Washington do something like that? This is what I'm telling her. I'm like, I think that's ridiculous. And she's telling me he's an actor. That's part of acting. There's nothing wrong with that. And I disagree. Because although he's an actor, who are you as a human being first? He's Denzel Washington before he's an actor. The actor is second. I don't care how much Denzel Washington loves acting, but you are Denzel Washington first before you are the character. And if Denzel Washington stands on some type of principles and morals, and he is a servant, from what he says, of God, why are you taking on a gay role? Denzel Washington is at the tail end of his career. He's about to retire after like the next, I believe, he said he's going to do, I think, 2 or 3 more movies. One of which he was recently filming last year for Spike Lee. He's at the tail end of his career, so why would he feel the need to kiss a man in a movie? For what reason? Right? He's already established. He already won an Oscar. So it's not like, you know, it's not like he's compromising himself for the sake of an Oscar. So that's just my question to those of you watching. How do you feel about Denzel Washington, particularly Denzel Washington, kissing a man in a film, Gladiator 2, although it wasn't in the final cut? How do you feel about that? And also, how do you feel about an actor who's a heterosexual, and whether or not he's Christian, Muslim? How do you feel about a heterosexual male actor taking on gay roles? I would like to hear people's opinion on that. I really would, honestly. But I'm just gonna let Terrence Howard finish this PBD interview, and we'll wrap it up.
I had no idea we're going to go this direction with the podcast. This is absolute. But listen, we've talked about it. We've had a lot of the guys on to talk about this stuff. Are you done with Hollywood because of
No,
this
I
specific
mean, I'm
reason?
still working. I still, I haven't made the money necessary to do all of the other stuff. So I still have to go and do the Chitlin circuit. I still have to do the job that I need to. But eventually, I've done what I set out to do, which was to redefine the universe. I've proven what I've set out to do, and that's why I have all the patents. Whether they evaluate it or not, that's up to them. But I've done the work and finished it. Now I can go on and do whatever else we need to do. Hi, everyone. My name is Terrence Howard. I'm an actor, but in the field of science also. So if you would like to connect with me, you can connect with me on Minect.
All right, so I'm going to end it there. As I said, he is a very intelligent guy. He has a background in the field of science. You could see him on YouTube speaking on different theories that he came up with in terms of science. But I'm not going to get into that because I don't have enough information on it, and that's not what this episode is about. But again, Terrence Howard, what is your thoughts on what was said in this episode? I agree. You should maintain your man card. But what were your thoughts on when he said not only does he encourage maintaining your man card, but what are your thoughts on him saying that he would never play a gay role, right? I agree with him. Let me just put that out there. I agree with him. But what are your thoughts, those of you who watched? All right. And I think it's pretty much cut and dry. We know the industry is filled with darkness behind the camera and in front of the camera, actually. I should say both in front of the camera and behind the camera. There's a lot of darkness in the entertainment industry, not just in the movies, but in music. We can deny it all we want, but it's there. And if you pay attention, you'll notice it more than ever. It was present in the Olympics, the opening presentations of the Olympics. A lot of darkness in that opening presentation. If you don't remember it, go to YouTube, look up the opening ceremony and some of the images that were put out there for the Olympics. A lot of darkness, and I'm not surprised by any of this. The question is just how dark will it continue to get? That's the question. How dark will it continue to get in this world? Not just the entertainment business, but in this world in general. Now, we could act as though it's not dark, and we could act like everything is just fine, but it seems like we're constantly, as humans, continuing to push the boundaries, and I don't think the boundaries are in a good direction. Not at all. If you disagree with me saying that, I'll see you in the comments, but I think the boundaries are continuing to be pushed, and it's not in a healthy direction for families or for individuals as also. I think it's just in a completely destructive direction. But that's my opinion. I'd like to hear everyone's opinion who's watched this episode in its entirety. And that's all I have for you today. As always, I appreciate you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.